Hello fellow 3D enthusiast, my name is Ian, and today I wanted to share with you how you can model a couple of loudspeakers mounted on a pole like this. Just throw in some wires as well, and eventually I'm going to be making a base for this, which is kind of like a monster body, and eventually it will be a Sirenhead character, which if you don't know what that is, that's perfectly understandable. It's kind of a weird thing like Bigfoot or something, but that's the intro. Let's get into it. So let's start out just by creating a cylinder, so Shift A and cylinder. With this guy, I'm going to scale it in on every axis except the Z axis, so S and then Shift Z. And just get it nice and tall looking. S and Z, there we go. Nice. Maybe even a bit more. There we go. Something like that. And here I'm just going to add in a tiny bit more detail to this by first hitting Control A and then scale, so that applies the scale. And then once we go into edit mode, we can select this top face here and go Control B, and that will add a little bit of a bevel if we scroll up. So that's nice and rounded off. We got a nice post. I'm going to hit Shade Smooth. That'll look even nicer. So that's cool. Now I'm going to start adding a few brackets just so that the sirens will have something to attach to the post. So what I'm going to do is go Shift A. Let's go Torus. And if we pop open this little menu here, we can work with the radiuses of it real quick. I'm going to turn down the minor radius and also the major radius until it fits pretty snugly around that pipe there. So now I'm going to hit 7 to go into top view. And that's 7 on the number pad, by the way. Don't need that. Let's go into edit mode, so tab and over. And here I'm going to go into vertex select mode real quick. If you hit 1, 2, and 3 on your keyboard, that'll go between the different selection modes, so that gets you around quite a bit faster. If we hit Z and then go down to toggle X-ray, we can see through everything. That makes things a lot faster as well. I'm going just to click and drag and select this half of the torus, and then I'm just going to hit X and vertices. There we go. Those are all gone. Let's drag and select once more, and then hit E, X. That will scale this out a bit that direction. Alright, that's looking pretty nice. Let's actually go back and make sure these are fairly far out, because we want kind of a U-clamp thing going on here. And then if we look down at these, toggle X-ray once more. If you hit Alt and Shift and then select, that will select a whole loop. And then if you hit F, that'll just cap off the face. And let's just do that real quick to this other side as well. Now we have something funky. Nice. If we select both of these caps and then go Shift S and then cursor to selected, that will put the cursor right in the middle here. Then we can just go Shift A and cube. This is a huge cube. Let's scale it down a little bit. And I'm going to hop into top view once more. Scale it down a little bit on the X, SX, G, X, grab it in. Nice. SY, that'll get it a little bit longer here. Bring it in a little bit farther. And then go Control R. Now if we place our mouse in the middle here and scroll up one, and then hit left mouse button, that will drop in 2 loop cuts, and then right click will just center them. If we hit S and Y, we can distribute those out a little bit farther. Then let's just drop in one more loop cut in the middle here, and grab, and move it on the X. This is looking pretty good. Now let's just hit Control B, and that will bevel it once more, and we'll get a nice shape that kind of conforms to the middle shaft here. And if we want to smooth things out a little bit more, we can just select these edges here, and then do Control B once more, bevel those. And that just looks a little bit nicer there. If we right click and go Shade Smooth, things are a little bit funky, but we'll fix that a little bit later. If we hop back into edit mode real quick, we can hit L with our mouse over this object here. That will select everything there, and then hit H, and then it will disappear for a sec. And then we can go Control R, drop in a couple more loop cuts here. Remember, I'm going Alt Shift and left mouse button to select those. I'm going to go G and X once more, draw those out a little bit farther, and then Alt H will bring back our other object. Now with these 2 loops selected, I'm going to go Control B and then scroll down. That will actually make it so that there's only 2 cuts. And with these, we can just grab them and move them on the X once more, and then hit I, and that will inset it or outset it if you want to think of it that way. Then hit Control and drag to the right, and then we've got a couple of bolt looking things here. Now that's pretty nice. Let's see if we can drop a bevel on this and make it look a little bit nicer. There we go. It's not bad. If we set this to angle, then things look a tiny bit nicer. And of course that all depends on what angle you set. I find 30 is alright. So cool, we have this little bracket here. Let's duplicate that by Shift D and drag it up on the Z axis. Nice, nice. If we select both of these, and then go Shift S and cursor to selected once more, then our cursor is in the exact middle, and we can go Shift A and drop in a cylinder. Now with this, I'm going to rotate it on the Y axis by 90 degrees, so RY 90. Scale it down with S. Grab it and just move it out on the X axis a little bit. Let's tab into edit mode. Go into face select, so 3 for that. And then select this last face here, and then just drag it out. Something like that. If I drop in a loop cut here, that'll give us a little bit of a curve on this object, so it's not all tapered out. And then if we scale up this end face, we have something like a megaphone. I think I want this base a little bit thicker, so I'm just hitting Alt and Shift and selecting this ring here. And then I'm going to go S, Shift, X, and then we can make that thicker if we like. Then if we grab these two end caps and just hit X to delete them, later in the modifiers, if we want, we can go Solidify modifier. And the more you turn up the thickness on this, the wider that face set gets. So that's pretty nice. There we go. It's pretty good. And we can just right click, shade smooth, hit that with the bevel if we want. I'm going to go angle once more. And that doesn't look perfect, but I think it'll do for us for now. Now if we want, we can just select the cone and select these brackets and then go Control P, parent it to the brackets. If we grab this top one that I parented everything to, then that's pretty cool. Now there's a shortcut for selecting the children of a parent that will select these two objects, and then with this as the main selection, we can grab it, duplicate it, move it around, do whatever we need to. So I'm going to duplicate it with Shift D and then grab it and move it, let's say up a little bit. Now with this parent object selected, I'm going to rotate it on the Z axis just to a different angle, so we get something kind of like this. And I'm nearly set here, but let's just add in a few chords just to make it look like it actually might work. So I'm going to hit Shift and right click and drag to wherever you want the cursor to be, and we probably want it to be somewhere near the inside of this cone here. If we go Shift A and then curve, we can just hit this top one here, and if we go into edit mode, let's drag it out a little bit here so that this first vertex is right around the cursor. Now if we grab this bottom one, we can just do whatever we want with it. These are pretty flexible, so that's nice. But I'm going to get kind of a chord looking shape. I'm just grabbing and rotating with G and R. Sometimes I'll hit R twice just so that we get this fancy rotating method instead of just 2D to the angle of the view. So this can be pretty helpful when you're working with curves. And to extend this or extrude it, you can either go E or you can hit Control and right mouse button, and that will drag out the selection a bit. I'm just going to have this hanging down to around here somewhere. And once we have kind of a rough chord object, let's go into the curve settings real quick here, geometry, and for bevel, let's just turn up the depth a little bit so that we have a little bit of thickness to this. And now once that's set, we can just duplicate it with Shift D, replace our cursor with Shift and right mouse button, and then Shift S and selection to cursor. Let's rotate that on the Z axis real quick with R and Z, and this is looking pretty good. Might be intersecting a little here, so let's just hop into edit mode and move that out of the way. And now we got something funky. Hey, that's pretty nice. Throw some materials on there and it won't be too bad. So this is probably going to be the first part of maybe a modeling series and a VFX part. I'm planning to put Sirenhead in a shot that I took with my camera, so that'll be pretty interesting to see how that pans out. If you found this helpful and you'd like to see more tutorials like it, there's a link in the description that says free hydraulic kit bash elements, and this is a resource pack that I give out to people who join my email list. And like I said, if you're interested in seeing other tutorials, my email list is probably where you're going to want to be, because every week whenever I upload a tutorial, I just mail out to that list and let everybody know that I posted a tutorial. But with all that said, I hope you have a fantastic day, don't get caught by this guy, and cheers!